Hi girls, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, I'm super excited to have you here as a part of our community. So a lot of you know that I recently got engaged and I'm planning my wedding this year. And I'm really excited about this video because we're covering one of my first preferences that met a majority of the requirements that we were looking for. So now Thailand is a huge country, so we can't just say having a destination wedding in Thailand. We had to break it down by different beaches, different islands and different properties that worked for us. So the few places we did consider were Rayong, Hua Hin, Phuket and Khao Lak. So Rayong and Hua Hin both are a drive away from Bangkok airport. Now with Bangkok airport, it's super easy because there are so many different flights every day that the connectivity is amazing. So you don't have to think that, oh, your guests only have the availability of 1 or 2 flights to fly that day. Versus with Phuket, that was slightly inconvenient that from Bombay, where all our guests are from, that there are only 2 connecting flights and both the timings of the flights aren't super convenient. Unless of course there's a new flight that comes up this year, but can't take a risk on that. So that was one pro of Hua Hin and Rayong. However, a con associated with the same pro was that both of them are almost a drive of 2.5 to 3 hours away, and sometimes in traffic can be up to 4 hours, which is extremely inconvenient for your guests because that means they're essentially traveling for a day to attend your wedding and then attending your wedding for 2 days and then again traveling for a day. So it's a little hectic for them. Anyways, these were the bigger pros and cons of overall landing at the 2 different airports. But now let's go deeper into Rayong. So Rayong has an amazing beach. It's secluded from the city, so when your guests actually arrive there, there is no distractions for them like when you're having your fairas or your haldi. All your guests are actually present at your functions and no one is really thinking, oh, maybe I should take a gap, maybe I should skip an event and go to the mall and check out what's around. So I absolutely liked that it was secluded. However, because it's a long drive away from Bangkok, that actually really drove up our decor costs, our transportation costs of guests, and additionally because it's far away from Bangkok city and a lot of the decorators that you're going to hire are going to come from Bangkok city, you have to find accommodation for your staff, whoever's going to put up the decor, for your event coordinator, for the head of your decor, and that's just an additional detail that we have to take care of in addition to thinking about the costs associated with the same. So in Rayong, I got in touch with JW Marriott and the property looked fab. We were in touch with Faye from the hotel. I'll share her contact details below. You can get in touch with her if you're considering the property as well. I even did a virtual tour with her. She showed me the property around. The lawn was fabulous. The beach was stunning and I could literally picture how the mandap would look, what the backdrop was, everything just came to me. And because it was one of the first few virtual tours that I've done, I was amazed at how beautiful the property was. And you know, all those feelings that like you get when you're getting married, all of them were present when I was doing this virtual tour. It was all too real, and obviously, like you can tell, I'm super excited for my wedding. So they had multiple venues in the hotel. You could have your wedding on the beach, you could have your reception on the lawn overlooking the beach, you could have the after party in the ballroom. They also had a mandap on the pool that you could do if you wanted to, if you didn't want to do it at the beach. So they had a lot of venue options and I honestly didn't find any con with the hotel. Even their rate was really affordable. I can't remember the exact details, but you can check out the Excel sheet I've created for my entire wedding planning and you can find out. So that was one good option in Thailand. So the second one we considered was Hua Hin, where a lot of Indian weddings have happened. And although it is a 3 to 4 hour drive away, so if you're only doing a 2-night affair, it sort of is super hectic for your guests. So if you're doing a 3-night affair, then Hua Hin is perfect. The rates we got were across all hotels pretty similar and amazing, honestly. The beach is again very clean, white sands, blue water, and the blue sky in the background is just an ideal backdrop if you are dreaming of a beach wedding. Like, it was amazing. And again, another pro with Hua Hin was that it's a little far from Bangkok city, which works in your advantage or your disadvantage. In your advantage in the sense that your guests aren't going to leave some of your functions and go to the mall or go do sightseeing or go out for a meal because they want to try a different restaurant. But the con of being so secluded is that your logistics for your guests, your staff, your decor really are something that you also have to consider. So in Hua Hin, we reached out to about 4 properties. One was Avani Plus, Anantara, Sofitel and Hyatt Regency. All the properties were fab, all the properties were fairly new. All the properties had a lot of rooms. So if you're planning a small wedding, that sort of acts as a con, because if your property has 200 rooms and then you're only taking 100 rooms, so you need to make sure that they have 2 wings so you can have all your guests in one wing. Otherwise, if it's only one wing and they have say 200 rooms and you have 100 rooms, it sort of isn't ideal case scenario. Although if the property has all the pluses, I don't think I would cancel the property out only because of that. So for Avani Plus, they had 196 rooms. So if you're having a 400 people wedding, this works ideal for you. It's a new property, so it's stunning, very well kept up, and the wedding specialist is Indian. So I think that's a big plus when they know, how Indian weddings are done. That's something I would definitely consider. So the next one we considered was Anantara. They had a golf course, so that would be perfect for a reception with the wedding ceremony on the beach. They have 2 buildings with 190 rooms, so again that's ideal, that you can take one entire building and it can be like your wedding party, and like everyone has that energy at all times in that building. And what I really liked was that they had a bar in the middle of the swimming pool. I know not a lot of our guests are going to jump into the pool in the middle of the bar, but when you have a pool party and you have a bar in the middle of the pool, it just sets a different vibe and tone for your entire wedding. People can actually go into the pool at your pool party and you don't just have to chill outside, which is now suddenly the trend, but I think it would be a lot of fun if your pool party was actually in the pool. So the third one we had on the list was Sofitel. They had 5 venue options, which I absolutely loved. Different ballroom options, outdoor options, indoor options. So it's a big property and it gave off that very luxury vibe from the virtual tour that I took on their website alone. So I absolutely like that. However, when I was talking to other people who had their weddings in Hua Hin at Sofitel, some of them mentioned that the food was not top notch and some of them took their own catering services. And it's not like that's a problem because it's easily available. It's just another thing that you have to consider and add to your checklist. So that's one consideration definitely to keep in mind. Another thing is that their beach could only accommodate 200 people. So that may be cutting it too tight because you also need decor, and what if last minute you have some additional guests? What if you have local guests coming in from Thailand? These are just some things you should consider. Another thing was that they had only 108 rooms. So if you're having a small wedding with only 100 rooms, this would actually be ideal because then you would have the perfect, like your beach wouldn't even look too empty if you did a beach wedding. I think this would make an ideal property if your guest list is almost about 200 people. Just try out the food before you sign the deal. The last one we considered in Hua Hin was Hyatt Regency. It looked amazing, the property. Again, I did the virtual tour on their website. Absolutely loved it. They had this Thai restaurant. I think it was called Thale Thai. And it was just so beautifully done up. So you'd be saving a lot on your decor costs if you have like a welcome lunch or like a pool party around that. So definitely something to consider, and they could accommodate 300 guests, so that's again a plus. Now moving on to Phuket, like I mentioned, there's ease of flying. There's a direct flight from Bombay, however the flight times aren't convenient and there are only 2 flights, so again it's a little tricky for our guests. So when you're thinking about a destination wedding in Thailand and you're planning only for 2 nights, although the flight is only 5 hours, you also got to take in the travel time to the hotel, and Rayong and Hua Hin that was 3 to 4 hours, and in Phuket it's only 1 hour till you reach the property. But it's also important to consider that you're losing time when you're flying from India to Thailand, so you're technically traveling the entire day. So for 2 days it just becomes a little hectic, so you should think about your guests for sure. However, if it's a 3-day function, I think this is pretty doable. Although I still know a lot of people who have done 2-day functions in Thailand. I stayed at Intercontinental in Phuket in August. They again had 2 buildings which could work in your advantage or your disadvantage depending on the number of guests you have at the wedding. The beach was phenomenal. It was blue water, white sands, and it was surrounded by mountains, so it was absolutely amazing. However, the only restriction that they had is that their ballroom could not accommodate 250 guests. Their beach could not accommodate 250 guests, and they had only 70 rooms. So all the 3 factors combined, unless you want to put up your guests at a hotel next door, it would be very difficult to have your wedding there, although it is the newest property in Phuket. Another thing, when I was in Phuket staying at Intercon, what I absolutely loved is that they had a fire show on the beach. So the entertainment part of the wedding was something you didn't have to think about. It was already taken care of by the hotel. So a lot of places in Phuket do have this. So definitely ask for it and try to add it to your contract when you're cracking the deal with the hotel. So the next property we considered in Phuket was Anantara. A big pro is that it's only 25 minutes from the airport, so super convenient. However, they only do a buyout and you can't block out a certain number of rooms, and that ballroom cannot accommodate 250 guests. So that was a little problematic. The next one we considered was JW Mariott Phuket. Again, that's only 15 minutes from the airport. This is the My Khao one. So that's super convenient. Again, I was in touch with Mil from My Khao and the property just looked amazing. So 2 other properties we considered in Phuket that couldn't accommodate 250 guests was Pullman Arcadia and Rosewood. So another one we reached out to was Banyan Tree, but they had a 3-night minimum policy. So they connected us to their sister concern property, Angsana Laguna, which was again amazing, but wasn't by the beach, but in fact it was on a lake. So the last place we considered in Thailand was Khao Lak. It's a 1 hour 45 minutes to 2 hour drive from Phuket airport, which is long, especially after the long travel time and losing time when you're flying to Thailand. It's also in the south of Phuket, so it can rain pretty much any time. There's no guarantee. Although from a lot of people who I spoke to, they mentioned that it has only been raining in the mornings and not at night or not in the evening. But that's a big risk. Although all the hotels I spoke to were prepared to change the venue of the outdoor functions to indoor on a last minute basis as well. So the 2 properties I was in touch with in Khao Lak was JW Mariott and Avani Plus. JW Mariott was a beautiful property. Absolutely loved it. Although it was old, it looked extremely nice. However, they had minimum 3-night policy. The second hotel we considered was Avani Plus. All the staff at the hotel that we were in touch with via email and over phone call was super helpful. It was also an Indian person who was in touch with us. I will also share his contact details below. But he was super helpful in telling me that, you know, once we close out on the deal, he will ensure that it's an extremely smooth process for us to plan our wedding in Thailand. He'll connect us to the decorators, he'll connect us to all sorts of vendors that he may know after having so many weddings in the hotel. He was also telling me about a lot of improvements they've done in their property recently, like putting new carpets, new linens, and that just gives you a newer feel when you're in the property. And it's anyways a new property. So from the virtual tour I did, absolutely love the property. So this is a summary of all the research I've done for a destination wedding in Thailand. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section. And if you want to know more about the other options I considered for my destination wedding, tap on the subscribe button. Bye!